Parshas Behar Bechuchosai. The second parsha that we're going to read this week, Parshas Bechuchosai. In Bechuchosai telechu. So Rashi says, what is the meaning of Bechuchosai telechu? Of course, it's a chazal. Im tiyu amelim b'Torah. If you will be a male in Torah. The downside, where it begins the tochacha, the im Bechuchosai lo telechu. What is the terrible situation in which you start not following the Torah? Says Rashi, im lo tiyu amelim b'Torah. So it all is dependent on amelus b'Torah. The bracha comes when you're amel b'Torah, and that brings all the good. And all the bad follows when you're not amel b'Torah. Asked Rav Moshe Feinstein, why? Why is it all dependent on amelus b'Torah? Why is that the key to bracha or klala? Everything follows from that. Why? So I was thinking that he gives an answer, but different answer. I was thinking that perhaps there's a great depth over here with an axiomatic truth in life. But I'll introduce it with a question. Amelim b'Torah. Does that mean that everybody has to be doing nothing else but sitting and learning Torah? Maybe that's a utopian situation, but that's not our world. So how are we mekayim that we'll get our bracha from amelus b'Torah? How's that going to be? So it occurred to me that pshat's like this. For a Talmid Chacham has to be a male b'Torah. For a simple reason. If you're not a male b'Torah, if you don't put efforts into your learning Torah, you're not going to get it. You're just not going to understand. You're not going to get the pshat. You're not going to understand it. It's just a fact. If you think it's easy, you can just sit down with a art scroll English and go through the English and that's it. It doesn't go. Because you're not going to understand what it's saying. You're not going to understand the depth of it. Someone can ask you a question, you're going to be all off the mark. It's impossible. In order for there to be a real understanding of Torah, there's got to be the effort put in that I got to put my head to it. People use the art scroll English. And you can be a Talmid Chacham, but you got to work on it. Because after you read it, you got to understand it. And only through that do you really begin to understand the mahalach, to understand the way of looking at it. This is true for all walks of life. Because the pshat is, if I take my Torah seriously, if I take the Torah in my life seriously, then I'm going to look to understand and to come to the proper perspective. If I'm a serious yid, then I have a Rav. Even if I'm not such a Talmid Chacham, I'm going to have a Rav as a Talmid Chacham who I'm going to go to who can put me on the right path on things that have to do with life because I am amel b'Torah. Torah is important in my life. And that's amelus b'Torah. That what I do and how I live and how I apply things is important to me. So I want to understand the truth of it. And therefore I'm going to seek that understanding. That's amelus b'Torah. When I have that approach, then my quality of life and my quality of understanding of life is much enhanced. And not only enhanced, it's on a level where I'm going to be able to grow and develop in my relationship with Hashem. But when there's no Amel B'Torah, whatever, it's good enough for me, which we hear so often, there's not going to be growth. Because then there's not the effort to understand, the effort to come to an understanding and appreciation of what it really means. Then it brings to a zilzul, it brings to a lack of a proper understanding of Torah, appreciation of Torah, and then it's a downhill slide. That's the yesod of the Torah. Bechuchosai telechu. You have to live Torah. And Torah has to be our life. And when we take that seriously, we can all feel that we're amelim b'Torah and bizocha to the brachas of the Torah.